Hi there, brothers and sisters. It's Cheri here. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about grief. You know, either we've all had dealings with this emotion, or we're going to have dealings with this emotion. But grieving is, I've heard people say that it's okay to grieve. When you lose a loved one, it's okay. And don't let anybody tell you you have a time limit on grieving, because grieving is a way of healing. And I used to think that myself, you know? I really did. I thought grieving would heal my wounds. And it doesn't, brothers and sisters. It just makes things worse for us. Much like every human emotion of the flesh, grief is a human emotion of the flesh. I know a lot of people are going to say, and they're going to disagree with me, and they're going to say, grieving is a way, it's a healing process. Well, that's what we're being told by the mental health um, field. But grieving will do nothing but rob your joy. Um, it'll suffocate your spirit. It's like, I don't know if anybody knows what an Ouroboros is, but it's a picture of a snake, and its tail is in its mouth, so it's a round snake, and in the middle of that snake is white, complete whiteness, and the snake around eating its tail, eating its own self, is our flesh, and the inner white area of that circle is our spirit. And the snake continually will eat itself, will destroy itself. Okay? If that's what we feed. And what will happen is the snake will eventually come to a point where it's eating itself so much that it constricts the spirit. And it squeezes it like a boa constrictor squeezes its prey. And it suffocates it to death. And that is what happens when we feed the flesh, the emotions of our flesh. We're destroying ourselves. And grieving is one of those destructive, one of the most destructive emotions that we can have. Now, is it okay to miss our loved ones? Oh, sure. Of course we're going to miss them. We're not talking to them every day anymore. We are not, they're not in our lives. We don't see them with our physical eyes anymore. But what we're doing, when we're grieving, it's okay to miss and to remember. And, they were here and they had a purpose and they loved us and we loved them. And that's wonderful. But what grieving does is we're putting our trust and faith aside. We're putting our faith that we have in Christ aside. And instead of having faith and trust in Him in all things, in the promises that He makes to us, we are overshadowing that faith and trust with our own grieving emotions. You see, my mom died in 2012. For the first year, I was in shock. I didn't grieve. And I thought, and I felt I missed her, But I wasn't grieving at that point. That whole year I didn't grieve. I was in shock. It was like unbelief. I could not grasp the fact that she was gone from here. But then once it settled in a year later, the grieving set in. And it just spiraled down and down and down and down for 3 years to where I was a complete emotional disaster. That flesh was squeezing my spirit so hard that I became anxious, something that is totally uncharacteristic of me. I was riddled with panic attacks, something that's totally uncharacteristic of me. I became sick, physically, emotionally, in every way sick. It robbed every bit of me. And then Jesus showed me in a dream. He showed me heaven. And it was just a quick glimpse. It was just, I was sitting in my own backyard and it turned to heaven. It turned into heaven. The grass became alive and it seemed like it had a spirit. The grass. The flowers sang to me. The lion and the bear and the tiger and all of these beasts of prey came up to me for me to pet them and rub their tummies. And it was so beautiful. The colors were just beautiful. Vivid and vibrant colors, so much more, than we have here. You could take the most beautiful, colorful New England fall season and quadruple that in color. And that's what heaven is. And after he showed me this bit of heaven, I saw him in the cloud. And I just, for some reason, I just knew then my grieving was over. And all he said was, trust in me, and you will be free. And from that moment on, I trusted in him. I trusted the promises that he's made to us. And that he was preparing a place for each of us in his kingdom of heaven, to be with him for eternity. And I wasn't trusting in this, you see. I kept seeing my mom laying in the ground and rotting. I didn't, and I kept, and then after a while that I knew, okay, my mom's with Jesus. She's okay, but I still wasn't okay. Because I wasn't trusting in the Lord to fulfill his promises to us. My faith was just shattered. And he had to show me a little bit of heaven to restore my faith. Isn't that sad? It's not. Grief is not a good thing. It's not a healing process. It doesn't allow us to heal. We're feeling sorry for ourselves because our loved one's gone and they're not here with us anymore. That's what grieving is. That's what I did for 3 years. Feeling self-pity because my mom was gone. And I didn't have her. And I had to be in the world without her. It was destroying me. Now, when I think about one of my loved ones passing and going home, this is not our home. Our home is with our King. It's like a husband and wife. You know, if my husband and I were homeless, yet I was still with him and he was with me, we still have a home in the earth because my home is him and his home is me. And wherever he is, that's my home. And wherever I am, that's his home. So wherever the Lord is, that's our home. He is our home. Whether it be in heaven or whether it be in paradise, the Garden of Eden, wherever it be, our home is him, is the Lord. And it comforts me now when loved ones pass. Because I have faith. And because I know the promises that he has for my loved one and the promises that he's given to us. And he gives us a comforter when we're grieving. And sometimes we just let that grief push the comforter away. Just as he gave the comforter to the disciples and the apostles when he went away. He gives us a comforter, and it's himself. And when we have faith in him, trust in him, we can feel that comfort. But when we are grieving and we are putting our trust in that human emotion to heal us, you see, we're saying grieving can heal. Well, we're putting our faith and trust in grief when really it's destroying us. We need to put our faith and trust in Jesus. Lay it at his throne, which is in our hearts. That's all I have. And those of you out there that have lost loved ones, especially during the holiday season, it's very hard. I lost my mom on Christmas Eve. And then my grandma was just a few days before Christmas. It's hard. But have faith, brethren. Trust in the Lord, and the Comforter will come. Don't trust in grief to heal you. There's only one healer. Whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, there's only one. He will heal our wounds. Thank you for listening. God bless you all. Love you all. Bye-bye.